At the Monaco Grand Prix, the season's most eagerly awaited improvement was finally introduced, and the crew shared their initial impressions of the improvement after racing it through the streets last weekend. Will this be the first race in a Mercedes comeback? For the time being, Toto Wolff considers the advances brought to the W14 in the Formula One Monaco Grand Prix to be encouraging. The thing we probably didn't realize we wanted but really needed was the crane lifting in Monaco. The media had seen RB19 and W14 new floors, and the two appear to differ greatly from one another. Therefore, is there a chance for Mercedes to overtake the Red Bull with this floor given the new W14 design and a brand new side pod concept? Or will the Brackley-based team need to step in as soon as possible on this field? Because of the tight confines of the Principality Street Circuit, Sergio Perez crashed out of qualifying, and his RB19 was hoisted out of the way so that photographers could capture its floor. Teams have kept this area a well-guarded secret because engineers think that with the transition to ground effect rules in 2022, underbody aerodynamics now account for 60% of a car's performance. The vastly better Mercedes W14 was similarly revealed after Lewis Hamilton's collision in FP3. Red Bull, who has won every race this season, would likely be much more irate, according to Mercedes trackside engineering director Chauvelin, if the work was made public. Chauvelin said this when asked if Mercedes had looked at images of its competitor's design. "I suspect they're probably more annoyed at their car being left in the sky than we would be about ours." When the RB19 was lifted, several people observed that it stayed far more level than the Mercedes, which dipped to the rear. Chauvelin, however, minimized the importance of this, stating, "Years ago, when your weight distribution could be anywhere between 48% and 43%, you paid a bit more attention. You could try and work out where the center of gravity was. These days, you've got a pretty narrow window to work in by the regulations anyway. To be honest, with these regulations, the most important bit is the bit you don't normally get to see. So the teams will be all over those kinds of photographs. Monaco is a good opportunity to get that kind of shot. The Red Bull was difficult to copy, according to Williams's head of vehicle performance, Dave Robson, who disregarded the usage of the photos. He said, "It seems so complex on a 2D photo. Because of the way the light is so curved, you can't figure any of it out. I guess it's just coincidental. They all do it like that because that's how they get the downforce. But it doesn't half make it difficult to copy." Tom McCullough, director of performance at Aston Martin, pointed out that revealing the Red Bull's wooden board would provide teams insight into how the car handled the bumps. He said, "Obviously, there are some great photos. A lot of people were there, so I'm sure the aerodynamicists will be having a good look at all the cars that were lifted up. Thankfully, ours hasn't been lifted up yet. Let's try and keep it that way. The aerodynamicists never want you to show that. You learn a lot from just even how the plank is wearing. You learn from what's touching." There's a lot of very excited aerodynamicists up and down the pit lane looking at all of that. Therefore, is there a chance for Mercedes to overtake the Red Bull with this floor given the new W14 design and a brand new sideboard concept? Hamilton and Russell managed to finish P6 and P8 in qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix, respectively, behind both Ferrari drivers and the Alpine of Ocon, and Gasly placing between both Mercedes drivers. This raises serious concerns about Mercedes' qualifying performance. Although the course was intended to better accommodate the new modifications, it appears that Russell and Hamilton have not yet grasped the right driving technique. Introducing new major modifications to the car is a fantastic update for Mercedes, who absolutely required it at this particular time. However, they also need to continue to grow and not stop now, which will be seen in Barcelona. According to Wolff, Russell, and Hamilton, the W14 accomplished its goal at Monaco and proved that they were on the correct track. During the Monaco Grand Prix, when asked about Mercedes' place in the standings, team boss Wolff said that the W14 had become less awful and showed improvement over their 2022 chassis. "It's so difficult because we were in the mix with Aston Martin and with Ferrari, I would say," Wolff told media. "On a positive note, maybe encouraging because we have never been really good here. We have been 3/10 behind pole this year. Last year it was 6/10. The car was awful last year, and this time around the drivers said it's not good. So there's a step up in description. But we really need to be careful. We've got to go to Barcelona and collect more data. It's a new baseline. I don't expect us clearing Aston Martin and Ferrari there either. It is more about understanding what does this car do now and how do we need to set it up. We're really good at grinding away once we have decided the development direction, and we grind away. Even with the old package that wasn't great. It was terrible at the beginning of the season, and we managed to win a race in Interlagos in a very dominant way. So, we're going to get there. Lewis Hamilton is interested in learning more information about whether Mercedes' significant car upgrades from the Formula One Monaco Grand Prix will be functional in the upcoming race in Spain. I'm really happy. We've moved forwards. Coming into the weekend, I didn't know where we would stand. So to come out 4th and 5th is really great points for the team. Huge thank you to everyone back at the factory for bringing those upgrades. We kept it in one piece, we beat the Ferraris, and we really got some great points as a team, Hamilton said. Barcelona is like the best test bench circuit for us, so I think it'd be really difficult here to really know. The car feels really stiff, it's lots of bumps, it's tricky. After last weekend, George Russell wasn't too delighted and spoke more about his mistakes than the vehicle. George Russell made an error in the wet conditions at the Monaco Grand Prix, losing out on a first-ever Formula One podium there, and he tried to hide his displeasure. Several drivers took advantage of the opportunity to execute a well-timed switchover to intermediate tires when the race was interrupted by a rain shower midway through. The Mercedes driver had stayed out on the hard tires for a lengthy opening stint, gaining up numerous positions while nearby competitors stopped for slicks. In order to keep third place as the rain started to pour, Russell switched to intermediate tires. Nevertheless, a mistake cost him a position. Russell eventually came in 5th, trailing teammate Lewis Hamilton, and was assessed a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Sergio Perez of Red Bull when he re-entered on the circuit. Russell lost what he thought would be a comfortable third place and said the experience was a lesson learned. It was an exceptionally boring race until the rain came down. It sort of came out of nowhere as it wasn't really on the forecast, Russell said. I'm really kicking myself because P3 was almost guaranteed after not pitting in dry conditions. I came out, there was a yellow flag, I backed off, and as soon as I touched the brakes, I locked up and followed Stroll up the escape road. That's probably a lesson that when you're not on it, and you're not focused, you make the mistakes. Probably if there wasn't a yellow flag there, I would have just been focusing more, and I wouldn't have gone off and cost the team a comfortable P3. I definitely damaged the car a bit. I wasn't sure that it was going to be able to continue, but it kind of sorted itself out as the lap progressed. The spectators heard a recognizable voice on Russell's radio during the incident, and speaking to the drivers during a race was none other than team owner and race director Toto Wolff. As a result, supporters immediately questioned Wolff's motives for intervening. Wolff explained why he felt the need to use the team radio. I've done that before. It's just encouraging or calming a bit sometimes. Drivers don't see whether they're quick or not. I think when you're sliding all over the place and you have no grip, and you have somebody telling you that you're actually pretty fast. I'm doing this because the race engineers are flat out, looking at tires and strategy, and in that respect, I'm just trying to support from an emotional side. After all, given the characteristics of the Monaco course, neither Hamilton nor Russell were able to push the vehicle to its maximum limits. Barcelona, though, will be a unique experience. Can Mercedes compete with Red Bull for the victory? We will undoubtedly be asking that question all throughout the week. Thank you for watching, and as always, enjoy the racing.